But then she says, but I'm smarter now. And I'm like, are you? Are you really?
Yeah. This is Whose Creek Is It?
The podcast where two sisters recap and pontificate about the show Dawson's Creek.
I'm Miranda, and I've seen the whole series at least 5 times.
And I'm Allison, and I'm watching this show for the very first time. Let's get started.
Season 1, Episode 3, titled Kiss, came out February 3rd, 1998. The director was Michael Yuki... Start over. The director was Michael Uno. So we haven't heard of that person before. And then the writer was Rob Thomas, which is from Veronica Mars fame. And
I know him from iZombie.
yeah, so a lot of like teen shows.
Yeah, and I, for a long time, thought that it was, when I was like watching iZombie, I definitely thought it was Rob Thomas from the band Matchbox 20.
Me too. I was like, it's got to be the same person. Who else would have that name?
Yeah, Rob? Who could possibly have the name Rob?
So this episode is titled Kiss, and everybody all the main characters get a smooch. Some characters get more.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
So we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Unless you have any other things you want to talk about before we dive in, but
No, I think we just gotta go for it, because yeah, I can't wait for us to get to that end where I can just be like, really?
Okay, so starting from the top, we open on Dawson and Joey watching a kissing scene of From Here to Eternity, which I've never seen before, but I know, like, I've seen that scene of like the two people kissing in the ocean. And it seems like not a fun thing for a woman to be like laying in the sand. I don't know.
It also seemed like, if I'm remembering correctly, they like kiss and then she runs away and then they fall down in the sand. It's all very dramatic, which is why Dawson loves it.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, what kids watch this? Like, I mean, I guess Dawson, but it's like a movie from the 50s, I think.
Yeah, I remember I watched in college, I probably watched some films just because it made me feel artsy, so.
All right, fair. So Dawson said, I wrote this down and I'm not even sure the context, but romantic apotheosis. It's like, woo, that's some vocabulary I don't know.
I feel like apotheosis is like the beginning of something, or the highest point in the development of something, the culmination or climax.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Dawson did not reach that, but I think Pacey did. So in this scene, Dawson is talking about how he's, I guess, wooing Jen, and Joey's just like, come on, dude, you gotta get this rolling. Stop like thinking about it and just do it.
Yeah.
But you know, he wants to create the perfect moment, whatever he envisions that to be.
I mean, it reminds me of how I feel like in recent years we've been having these discussions about how so many romantic gestures in movies are just completely inappropriate. It's like, boys watch that Say Anything, that movie where he stands outside her house with a boombox. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're finally like turning to young men and going, don't do that.
Yeah, maybe just apologize, use your words, and listen to what she wants.
And we'll get into it more, but I think that was what grated on me with Dawson, was this idea that he's orchestrating and scripting and storyboarding this moment that theoretically should be about both of them. Mm-hmm. But he wants full control over it, and that rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. Joey says he's unrealistic about what he wants out of creating a moment with Jen, and he says that she's just cynical.
Yeah.
And Dawson says, "You could be that woman on the beach," which, later in the show, she kind of is.
You know what? You're right. I didn't think of that.
But yeah, Joey is like toying with Dawson, it feels like, because she's like, "Oh, progress your relationship with Jen," but it's like, isn't that what you don't want?
Yeah, maybe it's tough. She probably goes back and forth, where it's like, I'm going to be a good friend and just support him, and I hope he gets what he wants. But, like, also, she probably gets some joy out of ragging on him and being like, you are so bad at this. You know what? If you're not going to like me, I'm at least going to let you know you're doing a bad job at liking her.
Yeah, I was wondering if she's trying to sabotage by like getting in his head and making him do stupid stuff with Jen and thus breaking them up sooner or something. But maybe I'm like being too conniving and seeing her as more sinister than she is.
I think a lot of the time we don't act generally in accordance with what we want. Like, we'll want something, but then it's socially acceptable or socially pertinent or makes someone else feel better to do the thing that is in opposition to what we want. So I could sort of see that, but I don't know. You know Joey better than I do. I don't know how sinister she is.
Well, I think she continues to be a mystery throughout the series, so.
Good to know. I did notice when he's like, and you're just so jaded. And I was like, yeah, the movie of her life has been drastically different from yours, bro.
Yeah.
Her life involves infidelity and imprisonment and the death of a parent. And like, so yeah, she might come off a little jaded to you.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where we leave it in Dawson's bedroom. It goes through the opening intro song that I do hate. And then we go to film class where they're talking about how to create tension and drama in the movie Helmets of Glory that they are getting ready to film. And Dawson provides a lot of good guidance to everyone in that class, but he's also being such an annoying know-it-all. Like, I
No, it's true, because like, even to create like a rudimentary story like that, you have to have that dramatic tension, and it's also kind of storytelling 101. Like, people want to root for the underdog. Why the hero that has everything doesn't need your support.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's being a dick about it.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's much else to say about that scene. Just, I mean, Nellie tries to knock him down a peg, and yeah, we get into that later with him and Nellie and him kind of thinking he's above their whole movie. Next, we see Pacey in Miss Jacobs' class. They're talking about a test that he took, and he scored like super low, like a 26 or something. And she's expressing concern about like his performance in school, saying you got to be serious about school and all this stuff, which it's like, all right, this is turning into like a grown up talking to a student or talking to a kid being like, you need to be more serious about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And he kind of brushes it off and says, well, maybe I could use a tutor, a slave driver, someone with a whip. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
God, I forgot about that line.
yeah. I was like,
Oh
this is bad.
yeah, and that's one of the frustrating things about Miss Jacobs is like, she'll have these moments of like, yes, you're doing it right, you're making the right move here, and then you're just like, girl, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it ends with her basically saying, yeah, come by later. Maybe I'll tutor you, and also I'll give you positive reinforcement. And I'm like, this is.
Oh, girl. I just wrote girl in all caps. I wonder, I mean, I have some notes about this later on, but I should have gone and like looked up when the say Mary Kay Letourneau case was, and because this was a conversation in the 90s about female teachers with male students, and it's just, it seems so dated right now. But I'm also thinking there's a TV show called Pretty Little Liars where they do the same thing except the teacher's a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was we haven't really touched on that subject of like how would this be perceived if the genders were flipped.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I think if the student was a girl, she probably wouldn't be pushing this hard on the teacher if we're just going by typical gender roles, right?
Yeah.
And like we would definitely see the teachers taking advantage of this student. But it's weird how it's like perceived a little differently because the genders are flipped than what we usually expect.
Mm-hmm. It's one power dynamic sort of in opposition to another.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, so this is a bit of a tangent,
Go on.
but like going through these few episodes, it brought back a memory of when I was in high school. There was a teacher that was accused of being inappropriate with a student, and this was an English teacher I had like a year or two prior to him getting accused of this.
Oh.
And like nothing real. I was like, am I imagining this? And I had to like Google it. I Googled his name, nothing came up. But then I Googled like our school and like just inappropriate with student or whatever. And it came up, like an article came up and the timeline matched. And
Yeah.
but the name wasn't on there because I guess he was never charged with anything. But it was like apparently he was like texting this student, like apparently she was having trouble at home and like didn't complete an assignment, so then he was like trying to be there for her and was like texting her, but then like he would also like hug her goodbye, and then she went and had like dinner with him and his wife like once or twice, and but then also like people said that he had like said to her that he loves her and has kissed her on the head, and I was like, this is wild.
This sounds like, okay, when you bring in the wife, like coming to dinner with him and the wife, and like
Yeah,
that's tough
yeah,
because like it sounds like unless you're not finished telling the story, it doesn't sound like there
no,
was like a sexual incident.
no, that apparently like someone had called and said there was, but then when they looked into it they couldn't find proof of that actually happening. But it was, I don't know, an interesting thing because I remember at the time students, a lot of like girl students that like were in the same class I was when he was our teacher were like, no, he would never do something like this, like defending him up and down. And I was like, well, he's like in his mid 30s and like he's, you know, kind of nice to us and feels like cooler than all the old teachers. And like,
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen the movie Election?
yeah.
Yeah. And an English teacher in their 30s, that is kind of like prime nice guy.
Yeah, like, or you could say like an ideal groomer for this kind of situation.
Yeah. When you mentioned that like his name wasn't published, I kind of it's tough because like in America we have this society of like, as of right now, Luigi Mangione hasn't been tried for anything. He hasn't, they have proven nothing, but we all are just kind of operating on the assumption that he did it. And when things get lots of news coverage, when you see a headline every single day with a person's name next to the crime they're accused of, you're setting people up to believe it.
Right.
So I sort of appreciate that they were like unconfirmed. It's a fine line.
Yeah. But I thought I would bring that up. Just my little brush with
I'll bleep it out, but what was the teacher's name?
I think was his name. I don't know how long he was there, like if he was there when you were around.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if he ended up staying at that job. The article did say he did not say anything. He was like, I'm getting a lawyer. Like,
Yeah.
So, anyway, did you have any incidences where teachers were crossing lines?
Probably not till college.
Okay. We can get into that if we ever get to their college episodes, because there's some weird stuff with teachers and once they get to the college seasons.
Yeah, it was never anything that like crossed the line, but in like retrospect, looking back years later, I was like, oh, that might have been on the grooming spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when you're a student, you can't come at it with the perspective of an adult and understanding the power dynamic that the adult has until you're an adult.
Yeah.
So that was a fun little tangent, but I thought I'd bring it up because I was like, oh, I feel like something similar-ish happened when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after the scene with Pacey and Miss Jacobs, we see the next scene, which is basically establishing the ice house, where Bodhi and Joey and Bessie work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a big spoiler, but they own the ice house, like they own the business, so it's a family business.
Oh.
And we see Bodhi and Joey giving Bessie a hard time about her appearance, or just like making fun of her being pregnant.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be funny, but like, oh, look, they can joke with each other and all this stuff. But I was like, why are you picking on her? She's in like an unfun time right now.
Yeah, I forget what it was exactly they were like making fun of her for, but
Joey said something of like, I can't believe you're that big. And then Bodhi said, yeah, she kind of reminds me of a beached whale.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, now I remember. Like, dude, what? I mean, it was the 90s and everyone was supposed to hate their body regardless of pregnancy state, but like, yeah, that was wild. I was like, what are you... I was going to say we don't do that now, but I am sure there are people who do.
Yeah, usually I think with pregnant women, we're just like, I'm going to leave you alone. Like, I'm not going to touch any kind of joke about your situation.
No, because, dude, it is... Seeing friends go through pregnancies, it's wild. Like, it might go fine. It might ruin your life for months.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bodhi and Joey be better.
Yeah. So we see Dawson and Pacey talking outside at the ice house, and Dawson says he's going to be the PA for the film class to film their movie that weekend, and that Mr. Gold may let him in the class if Dawson does a good job or behaves or something.
Yeah.
And we see Joey come up to them and chit chat with them for a little bit. Pacey and Dawson are talking about how Dawson's going to take Jen to the ruins to film the ending of his movie and maybe also orchestrating their first kiss.
Yeah. This is fine. This is a plan that will work. You need to plan intimate moments.
Mm-hmm. And everything will go exactly as you think it will.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean, we'll find out, or maybe it never comes up again, but I wonder if sort of the story of the ruins and the guy who built it for his wife comes up again.
Yeah. We will see. So Joey is sitting with Dawson and Pacey, kind of not paying attention. She like looks over and sees this very fine, strapping boy.
Very dreamy. Very dreamy, very Cape Cod.
Yeah. And Pacey and Dawson immediately notice that she's like zoned out, just staring at this guy. And kind of draws attention to it and is like, oh, excuse me, like trying to get the guy's attention. Which I've definitely had friends who have like known I liked someone and then like tried to make a little bit of a scene just to make me sweat. Because they know how like I'm not going to do anything, and they're like, I might just push you into a situation right now that you don't want to do. And I love Joey's response to, I think it was Pacey. She calls him like, you butt plug.
Yeah. Someone in this friend group has access to HBO, and like, that's where they're getting everything.
Yeah. I'm just like, what are these writers? I guess, I don't know.
I mean, Pacey is kind of a butt plug.
He is. Yeah, he hasn't really shown to be anything better than that. But at the end, Pacey makes a comment of like, oh, that guy wouldn't go for a waitress, acknowledging that this kid in a polo or whatever the hell he was in is probably some rich kid just like passing through their small town.
Which is like, it's kind of a jerk move from Pacey. Like, you don't get to shoot down her dreams.
Yeah.
Let Joey shoot down her own dreams. And then I think the next scene is she follows.
No, the next scene. Sorry.
No. That's why we need you.
Okay. I was like, oh, does Allison want to take control of listing the scenes?
God, no. No, I need you so bad.
Yeah, I'm struggling to remember, and I've seen this multiple times. So we next cut to Dawson in the locker room, putting stickers on football helmets, like that helps somehow, in preparation for filming of the terrible movie the class is working on. Mm-hmm. And in comes Jen in a cheerleader outfit, and Dawson's like, "What are you doing here?" And she says, "Oh, yeah, Cliff gave me a part." And Dawson says, "Was there a couch involved?" Which, I mean, kind of hints at, like, even then they knew this crap was going on in casting and...
Yeah, casting couch, that term's been around a long time.
Yeah.
But it's also a douchey thing to say to a girl you like.
Yeah, I know. Like, oh, did you just get it because you're hot? And Dawson says, well, you're supposed to be in my movie and not in this, like, crappy movie. Basically, like, you should be with me, not with Cliff. Like, what is this?
So smooth.
Yeah. And at the end of that scene, Jen is walking towards Cliff, and Cliff says something like, "Thanks, David," and Jen turns and says, "It's Dawson," which, like, she's still standing up for him, and I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah, and Cliff seemed to have completely forgot that Dawson just, like, had some weird confrontation with him at the school dance. Cliff seems to, like, which, like, is almost more vicious, because Cliff is like, you don't even register to me. You're so not a threat. I don't remember your name. I don't remember arguing with you at the dance. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty devastating for me. Yeah, maybe he was trying to get his name wrong.
Yeah.
So next we see Pacey in quote-unquote tutoring with Miss Jacobs, and Pacey asks her about her high school experience, just trying to get to know more information about her that's just going to make him feel more insecure, I guess.
Yeah.
And the question comes up, would you have dated me in high school? Like, if we were both in high school at the same time, would you have dated me? To which she responds, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then she says but I'm smarter now. And I'm like, are you?
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah, I think you were probably better off in high school.
Yeah. That reminds me of how in, like, a lot of teen shows, like, every main character thinks they're the loser, when in reality they're probably just, like, somewhere in the middle of everything. Like, I'm sure Dawson thinks of himself as this giant underdog, when it's like, no, you probably just fade into the crowd, man. Yeah,
no one hates you. You're not, like, the enemy of anybody.
Yeah, I mean, until they have to, like, work with you on something, then they hate you, but... But yeah, like, Pacey seems like, oh, I'm such a loser, and it's like, you seem fine. I don't know. I'm not a good judge of high school popularity.
Yeah, I think we get to know more about how Pacey sees his standing in the world as time goes. But I mean, there were little things like the first episode, Nellie said a bunch of stuff putting him down when they were in the Blockbuster that they worked at, and
that's true.
Yeah, and, like, him not doing well in school and that kind of stuff. But yeah, he seems to be pitying himself a little too much.
Yeah, which, like, saying to a girl, look how pathetic I am, doesn't feel like a great come on. It doesn't feel like a winning strategy.
No. Confidence is good. Not, like, overconfidence, but just, like, feeling confident in yourself is really the winner here.
Just don't make me feel like I have to talk to you out of charity. That's... Yeah. Which, like, I wouldn't have even gotten there if you weren't making it weird.
Mm-hmm. I think in this scene they also do, like, the quiz or they start doing a quiz where Tamara starts shooting questions at him, and and he's answering them. And oh, maybe this was when they were talking about positive reinforcement. So we'll cut back to them in a little bit, but next we see Joey back at the ice house taking out the trash, and here's someone playing violin.
It was so absurdly romantic. I'm just a rich boy with a beautiful haircut playing violin on a boat at sunset.
Yep, surprise, surprise. It's the guy that she was eyeing earlier in the day. And she walks over, and they just immediately have this banter. They're going back and forth. Joey's kind of being annoying. Like, she's being a little too mean at times, but he's just rolling with it.
Yeah.
And while she's talking to him, she's hiding her apron.
Yeah.
Which is the first sign we're seeing of like, she's a little embarrassed or ashamed of the fact that she has a job.
Yeah. How dare she?
And she gives them answers to things like, she said she was like in private school or something.
I know. I've heard of it's choate. Choate. And I only know this because I feel like I looked it up because I knew someone who went there to play ice hockey.
Oh.
So it's one of those bougie prep schools with things like ice hockey. Which I know is not bougie in other parts of the country, but we're in California, so the idea of a high school hockey team is very strange.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so she does her best to pretend that she is also a yuppie, and he, in a roundabout way, asks her to go sailing, and she, in a roundabout way, obliges.
Yeah.
And he asks her for her name. Oh, we should also say his name's Anderson Crawford. We can just refer to him as Rich Boy. But she gives a fake name.
That was when my heart sank. I was just like, Joey.
Yeah. I know. And she did it like not too bad, where she was like, my name is Sunset Boatson. Where like
my name is Sunset Boatson, but you can call me Violin.
Like the name was okay. It was like Deborah Carson, I think.
Yeah. It was fine.
So I do have a question.
Okay.
What do you think this guy's political affiliation is? Do you think he's like straight up conservative? Do you think he's like stealth conservative, like doesn't want to like give off he's conservative? Or do you think he's like one of those like rich folk who like is like, my family's just rich because they were lucky?
Honestly, I think the default for a kid like him is that he just never thinks about it.
Right.
And also, it was 1998. It was just different. It was the biggest problem America had was that the president was getting a blowjob. That was the biggest problem we had. And in that, and I don't even know if the timing's right with 1998. I don't remember. But it was just, and it was also a time when people on different sides of the political divide could be friends, and it wasn't like someone extremely compromising their values. It was just a different time. But if I had to guess with Anderson, I'd go with like, he's never really thought about it outside of a political science class.
Right. That makes sense. I feel like when you're a privileged person who's not having too many problems in your life as a kid, you're probably not really thinking much about politics because it doesn't really affect you. You're not thinking about it until you're an adult and you're voting. And maybe even then you're still not really thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, because I'm like, he doesn't seem so bad, but he is capital R rich, it seems.
Yeah, the way he's just like tossing off things, it was wild how he just assumed that we are of the same class financially. Because he seemed to just be like, oh yeah, this boarding school and blah blah blah.
So next, I think there was a little clip of like Miss Jacobs and Pacey doing the quiz thing, but we haven't gotten to that like penultimate scene where Jacobs really like grills him. So we'll
Yeah.
get to that in a second. But next
Okay.
we cut back to Dawson in the locker room as filming is going on, like talking crap about the movie and like what Cliff is saying. As I will say, he is correctly winding the wire correctly. He's doing it like a PA would.
Hey.
A just a little note that I picked up when I briefly worked for a music venue.
Yeah. You're like you can spot if he's the real deal. You do.
Yeah. Hmm. But yeah, I think what he's doing here is wrong. Like while they're filming, he's just openly talking. I'm like, quiet on set, dude. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's like the most basic thing. And like on the one hand, I feel like there have been situations where I have been Dawson where I'm just so frustrated by everything and disgusted by things, typically in a workplace setting, that like I can't keep myself from saying how stupid everything is. And it's something I have to like keep in check and like try to recognize when I'm doing it. So on the one hand, I can empathize to an extent, but like, yeah, buddy, your whole job is just shut up right now.
And Nellie has it out with him a little bit and basically tells him as much.
Yeah. Which I was surprised to hear that she wrote this, I guess, because it seemed like Cliff was just making it up on the fly in a previous episode.
Yeah, I was like, girl, you've been writing this since the summer. What did you write?
Yeah, because you're still trying to decide what the conflict is.
Yeah. So next we go back to Pacey and Tamara, and Tamara's quizzing him and he's doing well. And she's like kind of, I don't know, surprised / impressed by his intelligence to his ability to like pick things up, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you can read?
I mean, reading is hot. Men who can read are hot.
Reading is fundamental. And this is the scene where she kind of goes back on him, where he keeps pushing her and she pushes back.
Yeah. He's like, so what's this positive reinforcement? Trying to, I don't know, get a kiss out of her, get something out of her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, all right, I'm gonna push back. So she like goes and locks the door and says, take off your pants. And it's just being kind of, I don't know, maybe glib is not quite the right word, but like,
I think glib sort of works, kind of calling his bluff.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote down, I forget if it might have been right around that time. I was like, be mean, girl. You have to just shut it. You have to make him hate you. You have to tell him he's pathetic and gross so that he hates you and this ends.
Yeah. Which I hope that like this isn't getting back to the thing of like women being terrified that men will not like them. Have you ever like dealt with a guy who shows interest in you, or I don't know, just something, and you're like, I don't like this guy, but I feel the need to be nice, but I feel like they're not going to get it until I'm mean, but I also don't know if it's socially appropriate for me to be mean?
Yes. And it's like, because I try not to be just mean in my everyday life, but so there's all the like socially appropriate and politeness, but then there's also, maybe less so in this like television episode, but there's also the knowledge that sometimes men get violent when you reject them. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's sort of under there. She cares whether he she's like trying to shut it down, but she doesn't want him to dislike her.
Yeah. So while this is happening, she says like, take off your pants, and he starts hesitating. He's like, oh, wait, I didn't know we were actually like gonna do this right now. And she jokes like, what is this, your first time? And then things get quiet and it takes a turn, and he's like, it is. And then she like feels sorry or like apologetic for what she just did.
No, of course it's his first time. He's 15.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just the wrong thing to poke at, I guess. It was a question you knew the answer to.
She knew she needed to like poke at him, but I think it upset her to see him get upset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, girl, you gotta be mean. You gotta make him not want anything to do with you.
Yeah. But she ends up kind of apologizing or backing down or saying, oh, we can't do this anymore. And then once again, it turns and Pacey's like the one who's like, no, this is like trying to keep this relationship going and saying like something along the lines of it's sometimes right to do the wrong thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. He said it like he just had the most original thought on planet Earth. I don't know if you've ever thought of this, Tamara, but sometimes it feels so right to do the wrong thing. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. So Next we see Joey walking over to the rich boy's boat. And this is the realization hit me of like, this is probably her first date. Like, this is probably the first date she's ever been on.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And, while she's talking to him about boarding school and rich people stuff, like she's pulling off the rich girl pretty well. He said something about how boarding school kind of sucks because you're away from your family, and Joey sees like boarding school as this like place of freedom where you, I don't know, get to be somewhere else other than your small town. But it kind of made a point of like, Joey's parents aren't around. Like, she's kind of living in her own little boarding school.
Yeah, except she has responsibilities.
Right. So they go set sail, and I had another realization of like, she is alone with a guy she talked to once on a boat by themselves. There's no cell phones.
He doesn't look like a serial killer, but sometimes they don't look like serial killers.
Yeah.
Also, that boat was so big.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about sailing, but like, that's a big boat.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a situation where I'm like, I would have felt very unsafe.
Yeah, that's anytime you get on Joey's probably a good swimmer, but nowadays, you for a first date, you meet in a public place and you leave separately.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just like, yeah, I'll get on a boat with you.
So we next see them I'm not sure if they're on like an island or if they're just like at a beach that is public. I guess it doesn't really matter. But they are playing Frisbee and they talk about what their dads do. And he said like his dad just trades stocks or something. Like he doesn't really work. He just makes money.
That's the secret of the stock market. It's people they're just buying and selling shit. They're not.
Yeah.
It's infuriating the more you learn about it.
Yeah. It's how easy it is to make more money when you're rich. Like once you're rich, making money is insane.
So
it's
easy.
breathing. It's
Yeah. Like literally, like even if you do nothing else, put it in a high yield savings account, and with a certain amount of money, you can live off that interest. Yeah. And that's like the least ambitious thing you could do.
Yeah. So he asks what her dad does. And I love that she says like he works for a huge conglomerate, and he kind of presses her and she's like, a tampon company, and that like kills it.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, that was smart, Joey. That was smooth.
And they have this talk of like, he basically asks if she's single, and
which would be a wild thing if she has a boyfriend and she's like, yes, I'll just get on a boat, go on a date with you, and play Frisbee on a secluded beach. Like,
yeah, that would be strange. This is before people having like polyamorous relationships or open relationships. But granted, even then, usually they let you know. Ideally, they let you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like, do you have a boyfriend is a pre-sailing off together alone question, but...
But yeah, she's like, well, don't you think he would mind if I went to like set sail with some strange boy? And he says something of like, he wouldn't mind if his girlfriend sailed with another guy as long as she's honest and like just trying to find some way for him to talk about how he really like appreciates honesty and that lying is bad.
Yeah.
just to make Joey feel more guilty.
Just to create that dramatic tension.
Mm-hmm. So after we cut away from that scene, we see how the filming for the film class movie's going, and it's going bad. They're having trouble getting like a steady shot of two football guys like jogging across a field having a conversation. So they take a break from that not working, and Dawson comes across Jen, and they are talking about how basically like the shooting of this is a disaster. And she is kind of like complimenting him, like stroking his ego, saying that like I think this is when he brings up like going to the ruins to film. And she's like, yeah, I would love to work with a real director. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, she's being pretty flirty with Dawson right now. I'm not sure what caused that turn for her, but
This is so interesting to me because I am more of a, and I don't know if this is a like emotional failing of me, but I'm just fascinated by people who will be like on the fence about someone and like stringing them along, and like I'm in and I'm out and I'm, on again, off again, because I guess I'm much more like, it might take me a while to make a decision, but once I make a decision, I'm done. Like,
yeah.
So it's this idea of like, I don't know. It's fascinating because it does not come naturally to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if has a little to do with just their age and wavering more because of that, and
Yeah.
feeling an emotional instability within yourself. But
Yeah, reminder they're 15.
I mean, I don't know. I know grown ass people who their feelings about their partner or potential partner change by the day. So
Yeah.
we go back to Joey and the rich guy, and he's mansplaining the JFK assassination.
Oh yeah, they made a little like sandcastle grassy knoll.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I mean, I guess it's kind of, it is endearing to learn about someone's hobbies and or interests, and it is attractive when someone is talking about something that they're passionate about. I don't know that JFK conspiracy theories is a passion I want to know more about or that would be attractive to me. But I guess it shows that they're vibing.
Yeah. So she threatens to like destroy the grassy knoll with a frisbee masquerading as a UFO. And so she crawls over to get the frisbee, and he crawls after her, and they get into this position where he's like basically above her, and
he all up on top of her.
Yeah. Yep. And he goes in for the kiss, and she just kind of turns her cheek and is like, I think I need to go.
Oh, yeah, I wrote down kiss ... Oh, girl. Oh, Joey.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what stopped her, whether it was like she felt like she wasn't good enough, or she felt worried about lying, or if she was just like, I'm too young. I'm not ready for my first kiss.
Yeah, or she was like, oh, or if she was thinking of Dawson, or any number of things, or if she just got scared. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he obliges. He's like, let's take you home, Cinderella. And she's like, I'm not even close, or whatever, not even close to being Cinderella.
Yeah, she says something like that and like alludes to some kind of mystery or some kind of like things you don't know about me. And I just wrote down follow-up questions, Anderson. Follow-up questions. That's not like, I mean, that is a trope in TV and movies where someone says something mysterious, and like, if I were there, I'd just be like, whoa, what do you mean?
There's a couple of shots of this guy not saying anything, but you can see he has questions registering in his brain, but for some reason he does not say them.
He's like, I don't know, my parents are antiquing, I don't.
So we go back to filming of the Helmets of Glory movie, and Cliff wants to hear out Dawson's idea for getting the shot, and it involves some makeshift thing where he's like on a wheelchair and someone's pulling the wheelchair and he's like filming it, and it works out great.
Yep. They've got the two football players in frame.
Yep. I don't think there's much more left to say about that scene.
Yeah. There's not a lot going on. It's just like, yes, Dawson knows something.
Mm-hmm. Dawson helped something rather than caused problems.
Yeah.
So next we are back at the ice house, and Jen and Dawson are sitting at the counter, and I think Jen is like kind of complimenting him about getting the shot and whatever, and they order from Joey, who seems really chipper, and they tell her that they're going to be filming down at the ruins for the ending scene of Dawson's movie, and she doesn't seem to mind this.
She's like, yeah, I'm already dead, so...
Yeah. And she's like, I got my own storyline going right now.
Yeah.
But speaking of the devil, the rich boy comes by, and Joey immediately tries to like pretend like she's not working there. She goes and sits next to Dawson and Jen, and he comes up to the three of them and refers to her as Deborah.
Yeah.
And
Dawson has no cool.
No. Yeah,
None.
he's not helping at all. I don't know if he doesn't seem to be getting it or he just does not care.
Yeah, it's hard to tell which with him, because, yeah.
Yeah, but Jen covers wonderfully. She's like, oh, we know her as Deb. That's why we didn't understand when you called her Deborah. And,
Jen is still saying to Joey, I'm going to make it so hard for you to hate me.
Meanwhile, Bessie starts like calling out to Joey to pick up some orders, and she doesn't have any idea what's going on. So she's like, why is my sister blatantly ignoring me?
Yeah.
And whole time Joey's freaking out, but everything manages to pull it off. Bodhi covers for her. Yeah.
Bodhi's a real one.
Yeah. He comes over, brings them their orders, asks Joey if she would like anything.
Oh, what a good big brother-in-law.
Yeah, which I'm going to also do another side note right now.
Okay.
So, Bodhi Wells is that character's name, and something that I won't dock you for not noticing, because I didn't notice it either, is, so he appears briefly in the pilot episode, right? Bodhi is briefly in the pilot episode.
Did they
recast?
Him?
It's a different black guy.
Oh,
I know.
I feel yucky.
I know. I'm just like, guys, like, granted, he was in a very short scene in the first.
In retrospect, though, now that I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, he did look different in the ice house. But yep, I am humbled and I feel bad.
Yeah, but like, okay, yeah. Granted, I didn't really notice it either because I'm just learning.
He's not a main character, but
yeah.
But knowing that many people have trouble differentiating people of other races.
Like, they can use the excuse he was barely in the first episode, but at the same time, I'm like, guys, you should have, like, I mean, I don't know what the situation was. I was trying to figure out why they had to switch the actor, if they even had to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that happens in pilots, I think. Like, they just get some, like, for the less main characters, sometimes they just grab people and then they're like, oh, the show's getting picked up. Okay, now we actually need to cast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going to give a shout out to the two actors who played Bodhi. So in the first episode, the pilot is played by George Gaffney. And then throughout the rest of the series, it's played by Obi Nadefo. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. And I have some sad news.
Which one of them died?
Yeah. So Obi, who is the long-standing character, the one we see in this episode, he did pass away in 2024.
No, Obi!
Yeah. I tried to find out a little bit. It seems like he was very into health and had died from orthorexia, which is basically like
Oh,
being
yeah.
like not eating enough nutrients and
Or
that kind of
your
stuff.
obsession with eating clean can turn
Yeah.
into becomes an eating disorder. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. But he was a writer, and he also was a yoga teacher. Seemed like a cool dude who had a cool life. So
Yeah. Shout out to OB.
I wanted to mention that because it is crazy that they just cast a different actor.
Yeah.
Like, the least they could have said was like, you know how Roseanne did that? Like, in the middle of the series, they recast like one of the daughters, and like
Mm.
briefly they had a scene where they're like, you look different.
Yeah. Or like someone just say like, "Did you get a haircut?" Something
Yeah.
like.
Just some acknowledgement.
Well, now my tangent from that scene seems very trivial.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go.
No, it's okay. No, don't be mad. Don't feel bad for bringing up real stories and real important things. My observation was just that Joey put almost no soda in the cups. She put 2 ounces of Coca-Cola in those red solo cups. And just like, those are not even close to full. And I noticed it, Joey. Also, most people don't at restaurants sell red solo cups, but everyone's doing their best.
Yeah, it was interesting. I noticed the red solo cups and I was like, I guess they didn't have time to make like fake disposable cups with the logo of the ice house on it. Like, that was just too far in advance of planning.
Something like that.
Or just a regular glass. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just gonna end with that scene. It's just sad to see like Joey being embarrassed of her life and herself, and at least her brother-in-law and her, well, I guess they're not married. Whatever. Her whatever brother-in-law and her friends are covering for her, except Dawson.
Yeah. I mean, it feels bad to see her feel like she needs to hide her family situation and her financial class, but it also felt so like I wish she didn't feel the need to do that at all, but it also felt like some much needed support when Jen and Bodhi covered for her, because sometimes even if they saw that like, oh, this isn't going to end well, this isn't a good idea to pretend to be someone else, sometimes people just need to know you're in their corner.
Yeah. After that, we see Pacey overhearing Miss Jacobs and Mr. Gold having some banter, it seems, in a classroom. I think they're talking about a movie. Couldn't quite figure out what they were talking about, but
I think it was the movie The Way We Were.
Oh, okay.
It might have been.
Yep, that makes sense. And
yeah, age-appropriate banter between 2 adults.
Right. Yeah, and Pacey's fuming. He's just sitting out in the hall and waits for Miss Jacobs to come out in the hall, and he confronts her saying like, oh, well, that guy's walking you home, and I don't know, just being a jerk. Being jealous. She says, what do you want for me? And he says, I want you.
Oh, you don't know what that means, buddy. Yeah, I have no word. There's nothing to add. It's just a big sigh.
Yeah. Yep. So next we see Jen and Dawson at the ruins, and this is where Dawson explains that they're trespassing and that the husband of the property owner, the husband designed it to look like Greece because his wife loved Greece and then she got too sick to travel. So it's about this guy who created this environment for his wife, and now Dawson's using it to try to create some kind of moment with Jen. Mm-hmm. So we see Dawson setting up his gear, and he begins to direct Jen on like how she should be at the ending of this movie, and basically is like just be kind of sad and contemplative, and she's like, oh, I can do that. I'm queen of being like sad.
Yeah, honestly, she pulls it off really well. As you're like watching the footage, you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. Good job, Jen.
Yeah. So yeah, he calls cut, goes over to her, says she did a great job, and they're talking back and forth, and Dawson tries to go in for a kiss, and Jen's like, wait a minute, are you filming this?
Yes, on film, bro? What the heck? Dude, like, that's a bridge too far. Like, we already knew he was trying to, like, create this moment and unilaterally control their first kiss. But, like, it's just a whole nother level that he's then recording it for himself.
Yeah, which in my head, I'm like, who would ever want to revisit the first time they kiss someone? I'm just going to say, for me, I was so, like, embarrassed and felt awkward about the whole thing. You know, I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I never want to relive
does
that.
Does Dawson feel embarrassment?
True. That's a good point. Yeah, he probably was filming it to go analyze it later to see, like, what he could have done better.
Yeah.
So after that, we see Joey goes over to the boat where the rich boy, I feel bad calling him rich boy, Anderson is.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically says that his family's gonna have to leave, but he wants to basically keep seeing her, like wants to see her in New York where she says she's from, but the whole time she's like trying to let him down easy, and it's like, oh, like I'm an East Side girl, I prefer Boulay, and he says, but Boulay isn't, and then he kind of trails off, and he's like, let me get you my number.
Yeah.
And then Joey's like, oh crap, what did I do? Like, where was the misstep?
Yeah.
And so he goes and writes his number on a piece of paper, and really, you can tell he really likes her. It feels so sweet. So they kiss, and it's once again, it's sweet, and you know, he asks if he can walk her home, and she's like, no, you belong here in the moonlight. Like, it was a little strange.
You belong among the boats.
You can tell that he maybe has pieced together what was going on the whole time.
That was my question, especially when she goes back and talks. Is it like right after this she goes and she talks to Bodhi briefly?
Let's see. We cut back to Jen and Dawson, so I guess we'll go there first.
Okay.
Yeah. So we go back to Jen and Dawson. Jen's basically saying you're trying too hard and that you need to like let things happen naturally. And he says, my intentions are nothing short of honorable. And I'm like, nah.
No, just because you think you're a good guy, that's not, ew. It's milady.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's basically just intimidated by Jen, and I think doesn't feel good enough, or I don't know, just feels inexperienced or something.
I think he is intimidated by the idea of an authentic moment and an authentic connection because he is not in control of that. Whereas Jen is like, no, the lack of control and the like mutual engagement and the not knowing what's going to happen is part of the magic. Whereas he is like, he can't deal with that uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like the right one. He basically has built up this kiss so much in his head, and then Jen starts to worry that she's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, she's like, what do you think my lips do? They're just lips.
They're not going to change anything. Like, they're not going to fix anything. And Dawson, like, it's like it hasn't even crossed his mind that, like, it might be a disappointment, which, I mean, I guess is kind of a compliment.
I guess so. I mean, it seems like a nice way to go through life, just assuming everything's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I wish I had that.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I was one of those people who just assumed, it'll work out.
Yeah. So back now to Joey getting in the truck with Bessie and Bodhi, who knows something's up. They're like, where have you been? Like,
yeah, I'm wondering if Bodhi, like, just kind of, like, filled in the sister. Like, I'm not sure exactly, but she's clearly, there's a thing.
There's a thing with a guy.
There's a thing with a guy.
So, yeah, Joey asks about Boulay, and Bodhi says, oh, Boulay's closed, and actually it's in a different part of New York. So she's like, oh, fuck.
Well, and my question, which goes back to whether Anderson had it all figured out, is like, is Joey sad or upset because now she knows that Anderson knows she lied? Or is she sad and or upset because she's realizing that he knew and he didn't care?
So I would think she's upset that she was found out. I don't,
Yeah.
because, you know, like, what happens next kind of proves, like, if she knew he didn't care, why did she end up dropping the number as they pull away in the truck, like, out the window?
I missed that.
No? Oh my God. That is like the most heartbreaking thing.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to watch it again. I didn't see that part.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I must have
pretty subtle.
looked down to take a note or something.
No, she's holding the phone number in her hand, and as Bodhi starts to drive away, she puts her arm out and she drops the note with his number on the ground.
Oh, Joey.
Yeah. It's so sad. I was just like, no, this guy likes you.
Yeah.
and the permanence of that compared to today, where you can
today.
find people on social media, that your access to random strangers is just so much easier now. But it's like, no, you lost his number. You're never going to see him again unless he happens to boat through Cape Side again.
Yeah, which it sounds like it is a possibility just because his family does rich people shit around there. But like, you're right. It is just a much different experience now to lose that piece of information.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I guess she didn't want him if he knew who she really was, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Or I could see just being like, can't deal with the idea of like the confrontation of telling the truth and like having to like be authentic with him.
Yeah, come clean.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we go back to Dawson and Jen at the ruins, and Dawson hears someone coming. And so they grab all his film gear and kind of tuck it away, and they go hide behind a bush or something.
A big old bush.
And we briefly see like a guy and a girl from afar. We can't quite make out who they are. Which also, I was like, those two people don't really look like Pacey and Miss Jacobs to me. I don't know. Maybe it was. Or it could have been like their doubles, their stand-ins.
Probably the stand-in. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, so as they're hiding from these people that they're not sure who they are, Dawson and Jen are like tucked in a bush, and Jen thinks she has something in their hair, and so they're messing with her hair, and then suddenly they both start to move slowly and they make eye contact and they start making out.
Yeah. It just happens naturally if you let it.
Yeah.
Dawson.
And while they're making out, we then see that the camera that Dawson was filming with is set up on a woman in frame who is being ravished by somebody. And then very quickly, we then see Tamara and Pacey cuddling with no clothes on.
Yeah. I gasped. I could clearly see that, like, oh, obviously it's them. But when I saw that, like, Pacey had his shirt off, and I was like, oh, they had sex? Oh, God. Oh, God. That's a big old crime. That's a crime.
Yeah. Which I was kind of wondering how their whole storyline worked. So it ended with, what do you want? I want you. Somehow they end up at the ruins.
Yeah.
And then immediately we see the after sex thing. I'm like, was the sex like 3 seconds?
Probably. Yeah, that was, I gasped so big, and it's just like, oh no, well no, now you did it. Oh
yeah, you can't really be any more guilty than you are now.
Yeah, you had sex with a child. That's, and it got me going down the like tangent of like why we see it as different for boys versus girls, and there's a lot of reasons, but you know, we see boys as more active participants in sex. We see sex as an accomplishment for boys versus in a heterosexual relationship, I think we often think of like the man gaining something and the woman losing something. So I could see how that plays into us perceiving those kind of problematic age gap relationships differently. Because we think of like an older male teacher taking something from the teen girl.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's vice versa, there's probably like a part of our brain that's like, you know, that this teen boy is receiving something because of our really messed up ways of conceptualizing sex.
Yeah, the fact that sex is seen as something that guys do, and for women it's what's done to them.
Yeah. So it puts like a teenage boy in a more active position that isn't accurate because they are a child that can't truly consent. God, Tamara, I told her the last episode, I'm gonna tell her again, just get in the car and drive. Just go. Just go be somewhere else. And maybe don't talk to teenage boys ever.
Yeah, maybe you need to go teach at an all-girls school.
Or go to intensive therapy to learn some coping mechanisms. This is going to be, I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to find out in future episodes, like, how big or not big this gets when it, you know, inevitably comes out or becomes known by more people.
Which I will say, see, the next episode is called Discovery. Now, is it a discovery of that or something else? I guess we will see.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. I did want to say one little fun fact that I got from IMDb is that Joey's kiss with Anderson, sorry, just fancy white boy names. That was apparently Katie Holmes's first kiss.
Aww.
Not just on screen, but like real life kiss,
and
I guess.
She was 16 that first season, right?
No, I think she was 18, which I was kind of surprised. I was like, I mean, she did acting in school, and I was like, you didn't kiss anyone in school? Yeah, but 18 isn't unreasonable. No. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's got to be mortifying.
Yeah, I feel like that's a more common experience than you would think. I feel like I've heard about that in other movies of like, yeah, that was my first kiss in that like tween movie.
Yeah.
Does that bring us to the big question of whose creek is it?
Yes, it does.
Do you want to start or me?
I can go. Okay. I think I'm going to say Joey. It was Joey's creek because we really get to see this side of her that, like, she acts so strong and tough and unbothered by things, but we really got to see how touchy she is about her situation of her growing up and see her insecurity in the person that she just happens to be.
Yeah, I think that's where I was going to, is that it's Joey's creek this week, because I think she did have the most sort of dynamic, active story. It was like her making decisions, but sometimes making the wrong ones. And she had a lot of the moments that, like, I really felt, like, when she's, like, on the beach and Anderson's about to kiss her and she's like, no, I couldn't. And then when, like, Bodhi comes to the rescue and is like, yes, would you like to order anything? And so, yeah, she definitely got the most sort of, like, emotional reaction out of me. So, I agree. It was Joey's creek.
All right.
I feel like we've been in sync so far.
Maybe one day we'll have it out.
Yeah, one day we'll have a big fight.
Yeah, a screaming match over whose creek it was.
Oh, and on that day I'm gonna bring up this recording.
Okay.